Welcome back everyone to the F1 2018 career mode, and you join me for the Season 3 Japanese Grand Prix, one of my personal favourite tracks on the calendar of the year. We come into this one with a minor downforce upgrade to the front downforce to enable us to get that turn in, and that's going to be all important for Sector 1 here in Japan, the flowing S section, which I do believe is my personal strength. It's going to be nice and sunny in qualifying, so we should be able to get a solid grid position. And then in the rain, there is a chance of a mild shower near the end of the Grand Prix. So we're going to need to watch out for that. Second race in a row, we're the only team to bring an upgrade. I get the feeling the others are bolstering in for next year, but of course that doesn't matter for us because this is our finale, and we can take advantage of the AI, hunkering down while we can just throw other bits on the car. But let's get into qualify for Japan and see where we're going to start at one of my favourite races.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session, where we should be underway shortly.
We are going to be underway for my fastest lap of the weekend right now. Bottas has set the pace provisionally, and I'm going to set the pace right now. Here we go with our fastest lap of the weekend, charging down towards turn 1 and 2. They are all important to stay as flat as possible and stay fully committed through there. And look at this lovely shot I got on a replay camera of me charging through the first couple of corners and then up towards the S's, as I've already mentioned. Small mistake there already. You just need to keep the momentum flowing through these corners. Wait to be able to get on the power. Then the Dunlop curve, just run it out wide, utilise that speed, and we are 3/10 up on our own delta through the first sector, and 4/10 up on the time set by my teammate Valtteri Bottas through Degner 2 and under the bridge, the only figure of 8 track in all of Formula 1, and then up towards the hairpin, the Kobayashi hairpin I believe it's called now, after some of his insane moves in that drive to P3 all those years ago. 4/10 for nearly 4.5 up now as we charge down towards the spoon curve. Now this one's another double apex left-hander. You got to just throw it in provisionally, run it out wide, and then wait for the car to settle. Didn't quite get the apex on the second part. I had to wait for the car to settle on the curb before getting on the power down the back straight towards the legendary 130R. We're half a second up on our own time and half a second up on my teammate Valtteri Bottas, all 200 mile an hour through the corner, then braking for the final chicane, where we're just going to maul the curves, get on the power early, charge it down towards the line. That is DRS open across the line, and it's provisional pole position with one of my best laps ever around here into the 24s. But cars are on track. There's a minute and a half left. Where are we going to start? In Japan.
We're live today from the Mie Prefecture of Japan as we look forward to the Japanese Grand Prix. The 2015 race here was one of only 5 Grand Prix in history to feature no retirements at all. Although with the highly competitive field we have today, I don't expect we'll be repeating that stat anytime soon. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula 1 calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mercedes. They've had 1 retirement in the last 5 races. What do you think that says about the reliability of their car?
It's a good statistic for sure, as it demonstrates not only mechanical reliability, but consistency from both drivers as well. These are 2 of the first boxes you have to tick for any successful season.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Esteban Ocon lines up on pole position, and the captain completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Sainz, and Sebastian Vettel, Hartley, Gasly, Sergei Sirotkin, and Alonso, Magnussen, Leclerc, Roman Grosjean, and Stoffel van Dorn. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So Esteban Ocon pipped me to P1 by 11 thousandths of a second, the bastard. Anyway, so we're going into Japan here. There is the fear of a tiny little drizzle of rain at the end of the race. Now, we don't know if that's actually going to come or not. All I do know is that I personally feel, with the pace that I have around here, and to be honest, just to have a bit more fun, like the medium tyre is quite disgusting around this track. It really doesn't offer you any kind of grip or any kind of, you know, fun, especially through the first sector. So I'm going to run a two-stop, couple of sets of super softs, then a set of soft tyres to the end of the race. Now, this is going to be one of the few times where I'm going to buck the trend and go against the AI, because the one-stop, look, even here, the one-stop is 6 seconds faster, and that's absolutely fine, but it's not as fun. And realistically, at this point, I'm going for some fun. So we're going to overfuel the car a little bit, go to that two-stop strategy, and get into things. I'm hoping to be able to obviously pass Ocon early, and then try and build a gap while, of course, the tyres wear out. But let's go through the setup. We're running a bit higher and actually more even on the setup here on the wings, just because of that, because of the first sector, really. As I mentioned before in the previous video, everything else realistically is the same for the setup. I don't really change it from race to race. Sometimes I can with the weight distribution and the suspension. It really depends on what I want the car to do, but very, very rare. So yeah, it's about utilising that first sector, keeping close to the car ahead, and then being able to make dive bomb moves into the hairpin. Let's see if we're going to have to do any of that today. So obviously got all this on here just in case anyone wanted to copy my setup. But we're going to build now on the grid with the lights for the Japanese Grand Prix. 5 red lights are on and they are out, and away we go. Ocon with an excellent start, and he's pulled away immediately. Bottas moves up into second place. Perez trying for third round the outside, and indeed gets it. Very reserved into turn 1. I've dropped from second to fourth, and realistically I'm not too estranged with seeing a couple of Force Indias and my Mercedes teammate ahead of me, especially in these latter parts of the season. So either way, we're going to utilise hopefully our speed through this first part of the circuit, and now we're going to line up Perez as we come to the end of the first sector. Ocon leads, being harried by Bottas. I've taken out a brake marker board. Perez very slow into the second Degner, and on the exit there gets a better run than me provisionally. However, up towards a Kobayashi hairpin, he leaves the door open, and we are just going to swing our car down the inside. I've mentioned it. If Perez, if you'd been listening to my commentary, you would have known what I was going to do, and I did it. So end of lap 2, everyone sets a fastest lap of the race. It holds on us though on the 29.1, and Bottas trying to get past Ocon, who defends very well into the first couple of corners. Now here we are lurking in third position. We've got a little bit of a gap back to Perez, not too much, but you know, just a tiny couple of tenths, which hopefully mean he won't be there to capitalise should I make a mistake, because I am all over the place through here, just trying to avoid the dirty air and be able to get on the power versus my teammate. But now at the top of the hill, we're going to come through Degner 1, carry so much more speed than the guys ahead of us, through Degner 2. Can we get a good exit? And can we line ourselves up here? We're very close to our teammate Valtteri Bottas. Can we line up a move into the hairpin? I think we can. We just avoid the back of the Force India of Esteban Ocon. That was very, very close, but we are through. And by lap 3, we're back up to where we started this race. And it's all about, can we now chase down and gain the lead versus Esteban Ocon? And we've got Bottas though all over me on the straight down towards 130R. Could you imagine if DRS was here? But we hold the line over Bottas. He got out of the throttle. We get a warning for extending the track, but the stewards don't give us anything more, so they must have seen that as partially fair, more that I took avoiding action, not to keep a position, but more to avoid an incident. But now we go down the main straight where we have DRS, and Bottas is going to scream straight back past me. There's not really much I can do against that, unfortunately. It's more Perez trying to make a move on the inside of me that took me by complete surprise. It was a very late move, so we just about held that one, and Bottas then carried on, had a bit more pace than me now. So initially in the first couple of laps I was looking good. Now Bottas has switched it on, and he can now go chase down Ocon, and I'm defending Perez into turn 1 once again. He tries the outside. We go slightly wider than anticipated. Probably pushed Perez a little tiny bit off the circuit, but it is what it is. Now Bottas setting the pace into the 28s. Meanwhile, I'm in the 1 minute 30s, and I've dropped back. Perez screams past me, and he is able to successfully take P3 away from me. And then of course, you know, once again it's the 2 Mercedes, 2 Force Indias running away, and a train of cars behind. So we're coming in now, because it's a 2-stop, we're coming in at the end of this lap, and there we get the notification of the rain. So 10 to 15 minutes is much earlier than the one tiny little window at the end of the Grand Prix. So Not really sure how I feel about that. Anyway, Bottas has closed up to Ocon. I've actually closed up to Perez over the course of this lap. We're going to dive in now. Hopefully we're going to avoid coming out in too much traffic, because there's a big train of cars there, but there's also a big train of cars after that stuck behind a Williams, which I noticed earlier on in the race. But 2.5 second pit stop. You can see it there coming through the chicane is the train of cars. Are we going to be able to come out ahead of it? They're accelerating. Oh, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. No, we're going to be stuck behind them. We're coming out. We release the limiter now, and we come out in last place. Charles Leclerc already out of this Grand Prix, so we come out in 19th and last, and that's not going to help us on the outlap whatsoever with these tyres. So, because these are a brand spanking new set of super soft tyres, not worn, not raced at all. And you can just see the speed and see the fresh tyres versus these guys on soft tyres, worn soft tyres through Sector 1. And now we've got to fight our way through this traffic, and this is going to cost me versus guys like Perez, Bottas and Ocon as we barge Ericsson out the way at Degner 2. That's going to cost us time versus them because their tyres are going to be wearing out. We need to be utilising this fresh rubber and getting the undercut, but instead we're trying to fight our way through the field. So we're slipstreaming Lance Stroll towards 130R, and it looks like the two Haas cars and the other Williams are having a fight and a ding-dong battle going in to the chicane, and we've had to take avoiding action, and we're going to pull right the way around the outside of Grosjean and Stroll. Not sure how we managed 3 wide through that tight little chicane, but we've done it, and we're onto the pit straight now, and I need a replay of this just to sort of see how this was possible. You got Stroll on the inside, he locked up, and we just went, thank you very much, we'll be taking the inside line. You left the width of a Mercedes Formula 1 car and some cigarette paper, and that's realistically all I needed. So now we're going through the S section, and Sergei Sorokin is in my way, so we're thankfully able to just go there. And look at this, drive right the way around the outside of Stoffel Vandoorne, just going to show maybe a superior setup, superior car and fresher tyres. But now I was able to turn up the fuel, turn up the ERS and put a lap in. It was a 28.6, so obviously my tyres have had a few laps on them now, so they're not as fresh as ideally I would like them, but nonetheless I've got some fresh air, and we can now push, and I'm trying to save a bit of fuel on ERS through the first sector because that's all about momentum. Bottas and one of the Force Indias has come in, and it's Ocon, and we're out ahead of them. So even though we went through that traffic, they have come in. However, you've got to bear in mind that's for their one and only pit stop. So that is the unfortunate part of getting stuck in that traffic. We should have had a good few seconds gap on them had we not come out in traffic. Did I maybe come in too early? Probably. Anyway, we're up to 5th, and we are slipstreaming Kevin Magnussen. We're being told about rain in 15 minutes. That's all well and good. So we were told, I don't know, 5 laps ago it was going to be 15 minutes. So apparently it's still going to be 15 minutes. Anyway, we take out the bollards and pass Magnussen into the chicane. We come through. We're going to retake the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix ahead of Sergio Perez. And we've got a few seconds versus the guys behind me. But my soft tyres now starting to wear out. And we're coming in again at the end of lap 13. And Bottas and Ocon battling behind me on the soft tyres. So like I said, we're going to be coming out a pit stop behind these guys. And realistically, that early pit stop, if we'd come out in clear air, I've repeated myself several times now obviously, but if I'd come out in clear air, we would have been a hell of a lot better. Either way, diving into the pits, making sure we hit the limiter and changing to a set of soft compound tyres. The benefit of these is they're going to be about 4 or 5 laps younger than the guys ahead of me, and I should come out. Oh, I've just realised there's more cars coming through the chicane. Am I going to be stuck behind anyone else? Sorokin comes in. There's a a Renault of Hulkenberg. He's coming out on medium tyres, and then there's another train of cars. Verstappen and Vettel and Raikkonen and Gasly and Sainz and Hartley all come through. We're going to take Hartley immediately, but once again we come out into a queue of traffic, and I think I've realised why the 2-stop doesn't work now. The big reason why it can slow you down? Traffic. Anyway, we drive around Carlos Sainz, we get through, back up into 9th place, just about hold it on that corner because we were partly on the grass there. Then into the Degners, we can close down on Gasly, who's really outperforming that Toro Rosso actually, and Verstappen and the 2 Ferraris, but these guys are going to be exceptionally slower than me, because some are on the softs like Gasly and some are on the mediums like the 2 Ferraris, Verstappen and of course Hulkenberg them ahead of them. So not been Not been the best race for me, but we're going to attack Verstappen. We're going to go to the outside of the chicane at the end of the lap. He has to brake really hard, otherwise he would have hit the back of Kimi Räikkönen. Thank you very much. We'll be taking that position. I'm not the best on traction out that corner, but we do have DRS, so hopefully we should be okay running down the main straight. It also looks like Valtteri Bottas, on the minimap there briefly, has taken the lead of the Grand Prix away from Esteban Ocon, but now we find our way up behind the Ferrari duo of Vettel and Raikkonen. Like I said before, both of them on the medium tyre, and they are going to be painfully slow through this first sector. You see me all over the back of Raikkonen, so thank you very much. I'll be taking that position from you, and that was one of my favourite places to pass. If my car just felt more planted, I could just get on the power and carry so much more speed through that right-hander, and then we carry the speed through the Degners, try and close up behind Sebastian Vettel, and we'll see if we can make a banzai move into the hairpin. Is it going to happen? Yes, kind of. Oh, we've just Vettel turned in late. We turned in early, utilised the curb. So, bit of a cheeky one, that overtake. But nonetheless, stewards apparently had no issue with it. We get through, and come lap 17, we have caught up to the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg, and we are going to be faster than him in a straight line. So all I need to do is sit behind him, use his slipstream, and we should get, much like against other guys, a lovely run into the chicane. I've gone more for the outside in this race than the inside. Hülkenberg goes deep. We're going to have to switch back, try and go the long way round. Hülkenberg cut off the best fight out of anyone so far, but still not able to hold the move. And now that Bottas has taken the lead, he's pulled a bit of a gap to the Force Indias. So yeah, Bottas leading the race. Ocon's still in second, and that's not good for our championship. So we need to get the hammer down now that the gap has opened up. But you can see now that rain that was mentioned. Here it is. It's not just in the final stage of the Grand Prix. It's going to be in the final 8 laps. I've set the fastest lap of the race on a 28.0. Now that I'm in some free space, clearly the rain not affecting us too much. The gap to the Force Indias ahead, still in double digits, 16.2 seconds at the end of lap 19. So, and that's Ocon down to third. So Perez has got past him. But yeah, I'm just pushing, giving it absolutely everything on my fresh tyres, because they're worn soft tyres, and this weather is not going to be...
Okay, be careful on those slicks. These conditions are making the line a bit greasy, but we're still nowhere near the changeover point.
So there's an update from Jeff. So yeah, dry tyres still the way to go, as long as we're still putting in the lap times. VSC, and gap to Ocon down to 14 seconds. He has really dropped back from his teammate Sergio Perez, and come the end of lap 22, gap to Ocon down to 9.3 seconds. I'm giving it absolutely everything to try and catch these Force Indias, but you can just see how careful I'm now taking the first couple of corners. It's now getting a little bit tricky.
We're no longer sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change.
So there's another update from Jeff. Gap to Ocon down to 7.1 seconds. I'm still pushing like a stabbed rat, even in these conditions, but just see how tippy-toed I'm being into the hairpin. And we tried to go round again for lap 25. We're still closing up to Ocon, but DRS has now been disabled, and that for me signifies the crossover point, and I wasn't prepared to take any risks. So probably against better judgment, I'm going to come in. I know there's only going to be 2 laps to go in the race, but hey, look, if any of the guys ahead fall off the road, we've seen it from the AI before falling off the road, we're going to come in for this set of intermediate tyres. We should come out comfortably in P4. And, well, if we don't, we're not exactly going to have many issues overtaking Hülkenberg. So not only has it been a 2-stop, it's been a 3-stop for me this afternoon. 2.4 seconds. Hülkenberg is coming down the pit straight now, so he is going to re-overtake me. But we have enough of a gap to Vettel. And God, those worn mediums in these conditions are probably even worse than the soft tyres. But we're just going to have to try and get acclimatised on these intermediates. I'm hoping, like I said, for the AI to sort of just fall off the road. That's best case scenario here. But I was looking at it from a perspective, I was already running 4th. If I pit for the tyres, I can easily catch Hülkenberg. I mean, look at how easily I've caught him through the S section here. We're going to get him on pure traction alone here, just because we can get the power down. So P4 was secure anyway. It could have potentially been P3, but I might have thrown the car into the barrier trying it. So we are across the line, and the gap to Ocon, 19.4 seconds. Not saying we're going to close that down on the final lap of the race, but is he going to fall off the road? That's the question we need to ask. Answer, no. Bottas wins the race. It's unfortunate because I really was hoping for some luck here. After my poor luck that I had as I nearly drop it through 130R. Asked for some luck after coming out in 2 rows of traffic after my 2 pit stops. So, hoped for some luck. It didn't come, but hey, it was all it was ever going to be was P4 at the Japanese Grand Prix.
Not good enough. Not good enough at all. Let's push harder next time, okay?
And as the adrenaline dies down after another eventful Grand Prix, here come the top 3 out onto the podium.
And there you have it. That are the results for the Japanese Grand Prix. Bottas wins it from a 1-stop. He wins it by 8 seconds over Perez. Ocon really fell away in the wet, and then of course us with 3 pit stops, bringing it home in P4. And we only really had the gap of 1 pit stop back to Valtteri Bottas. So could I have stuck it out for the last 2 laps on dry tyres and maybe got Ocon? Possibly. But like I say, I was sort of hoping for some luck, and considering the way my race had gone, was that probably the best thing for me to hope for? No, but is what it is, unfortunately. And Nico Hülkenberg getting a really solid result for Renault and P5. Vettel 6th, Sainz 7th, Verstappen 8th, Ricciardo 9th, Gasly P10. Driver standings wise, that puts Ocon 45 points behind me. Bottas and Perez now both join us in the guys with over 200 points. So that'll be interesting for the rest of the season. Now Mercedes have now broken 500 points. We're on 503. And it's, for me, at least from the constructors' side of things, even if it's not me performing, even if it's just Bottas, realistically, this should be a foregone conclusion for the constructors. It's more about the driver standings now. But that has been the Japanese Grand Prix. I hope you have enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and comment any feedback down below. So we move on next time out to the USA Grand Prix. A track with a previous history of me not going too well. I suppose we'll see what happens when we get there. But not our day today. Not lucky enough. But you know, sometimes it do be like that. You know what I'm saying. So if you did enjoy and want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, please remember to subscribe and enable them notifications. We've got 4 rounds left after this one. USA, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. So we'll see how that goes, and I will see you all next time.